realistically should cost like $2,200, right? And then I just think to myself, I'm like, are there people that are actually doing that? Like, I know $5,000, it's not like it's a crazy lot of money, you know, it's not like an insane amount of money, but you're paying $5,000 for something that's like realistically worth like, you know, like $2,200 to $2,500, and that's to the right person. So I think they do that because they know they're gonna have, I think that's really what it is. They know they're gonna negotiate with 95% of people. If they put a price in there that they actually wanted to sell it at, they wouldn't sell very much. Well, actually they would sell more, but they want to screw people, right? Here's how it works. I'm gonna sell this thing that's worth $2,500 probably. I'm gonna put it on there for $5,000. I'm gonna get people that reach out to me, and you know what? I'll actually end up selling this thing for $3,200. If someone comes in here and wants to offer me $3,200, I'll take it. But let's say we get a guy that's kind of an idiot, and he comes in there and he's like, well, would you take $4,200 for it? Man, you know what? Let's do $4,400, right? So they're just trying to negotiate. They put something in there that's ridiculously high, and then they want someone to come in there and to kind of be uninformed about what stuff's worth, and then to get sold, and then to overpay for something. So they just made $1,500 to $2,000 because someone was kind of incompetent. But my whole theory on it is that if you price something just so ridiculously high, you're going to be missing out on probably 50, maybe more than 50% of people that might be interested in like actually making a fair offer on it. They're not even going to be interested. So I'll see stuff on Craigslist or Facebook that has literally been on there for like years, I mean 10 months, over a year, so long, because stuff is priced so high. And really the only thing you can do as a seller to attract more interest, you can't change what you're selling. You know, maybe you have something that's just kind of undesirable, but the only real tool you have is to just lower your price. And at a certain point, this guy's gonna look at me. At a certain point, someone will be interested. And then if you make the determination, well shit, I'd rather just keep it than sell it for $1,500, well then just keep it, right? But if you have something that no one wants, that's your only device. You have to lower your price and then get someone to, like, man, I probably wouldn't buy this thing, but you're offering it like 30% less than what it's actually worth, so I'm gonna fucking do it. I really don't, I mean, today is a nice day, but I really hate this time of year. It just sucks. I mean, it already kind of feels like it's getting dark, and it's 2 o'clock. Like the sun's kind of like going down already. It feels like it's kind of fading, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I guess the sun's like kind of high in the sky, but you know, in 2 hours it'll be literally dark. It all happens so fast too. I mean, before you know it, you just get used to the weather. And so for me, like, the biggest change for me is like, it's just 100% in the spring, like late March or early April, or even the mid of March. That extra hour kicks in, that daylight, I don't know if it's daylight savings or whatever it's called, but instead of getting dark out at like 5, it gets dark out at 6:30 or something, or 5:30 to 6:30, and then it really starts getting warmer. And you've just been so used to being kind of shacked up inside and cold and wearing a jacket, at least where I live, and you haven't seen a whole lot of sun, or at least sun that's kind of warm. So that's always a really fun, and then, you know, for me, it's so great because I typically haven't ridden my motorcycle. I've kind of forgot about it. And I'm a huge, you know, obviously I love my motorcycles, and but like, you know, for 4 months out of the year probably, it's just once in a blue moon when I really ride them. because it's just raining or too cold, or it's really not even on my mind that much. Today it was, I guess, just because it was like, I looked at the weather, it was like, wow, it's actually going to be kind of nice tomorrow, so maybe I'll try to ride for like 45 minutes. But that's a great time because everything's changing, you know. The leaves are well, I don't know if they're coming back, but you can just, I guess they are coming back, right? It's the spring. I don't really know much about plants, but whatever. Just the days are longer, it's warmer, you can jump back on the bike. People seem to be in a better mood. Because, I mean, who really likes the winter? Like, some people say, they're like, yeah, I like the winter just because it's like more family time and I like colder weather. But I mean, really, do people really like it being wet and cold and dark all the time? Like, who are you? I mean, I could see how you would get sick of like extreme heat, and believe me, I'm the same way. I always say, I'm like, yeah, I prefer it to be like, I prefer it to be hot all the time, or like sunny. But then in the summer, man, I'll tell you, when I go to the east side of our state and it's like 105 degrees out and there's no trees, you're like, get me the fuck out of here, right? It's way too hot. You got to be jumping in the water every 5 minutes to cool off. It is so hot. It's just ridiculous how hot it is. When there's no tree protection and it's, the sun like doesn't go down until, I mean, literally at 8:30 it's still light out. 9 o'clock it's like barely going down. So we don't have it bad here. Like, we don't. Any arguing I'm doing is just, you know, relative, right? It's just because it's the only thing I know. But we don't get a lot of snow, at least here. And, you know, yeah, we get way more rain than most people, but it doesn't get that cold in the winter, and it doesn't get excruciatingly hot in the summer, so it's really not that bad. Ambulance, wow. Oh man, I'm about to be at 40,000 on this bike. I probably won't get it before the spring. 39,806 miles on this bike. Like I said, I think I rode this bike 8,000 miles this year. Roughly 8,000 miles, which is by far the most that I have ridden this bike. Not even close, in 1 year. I rode my other bike like what did I ride that bike? 24/7 to 33. I rode my other bike like 8,500 miles too. So I rode like 16,000 miles, which was probably double what I've ever done. But it was awesome. It was awesome. And it's like I said, it's nice having two different bikes. And the two bikes I have aren't crazy. They're not fast. They're not super. I mean, this bike it's not a super sport. You know, it's just a reliable standard bike, and it's smaller and it's lighter weight, and it's a totally different feel than riding that big ass BMW K1200. So, you know, if you're someone that had just one bike, you even if it was like an R1, you'd probably get used to it, right? Because it's the only bike you have. So even if you're going like 140, you'd be like, man, I'm just used to this bike. The riding position, you know, all the levers, everything, the seating position, I'm just so used to it. It's like second nature. And the weight of the bike, right? But even if you have two bikes, even if one's just like a little dirt bike and one's a street bike, it's just great to jump back and forth between the two of them, because it's just a different experience. And especially if you haven't ridden one of them for a while. Like, I remember I hadn't ridden this bike in over 6 months. I left it at my parents' house because I was only riding my BMW, and I had to leave my BMW outside because I didn't have a garage. but my parents did, so I left my other bike at their house, and it just sat there. And I remember going over there one weekend, and I was like, well, it's not raining, and it's like, I think it was April, because we were watching the Masters, the golf tournament. This was when Tiger Woods won it, so it was only a year ago, or yeah, April of 19. But it was like 6:30 in the morning, and I got back on this bike, and it was like, whoa, it felt so different, and it felt really, really fast to me, right? Because what I had been riding was a 850 pound, hog that was just a cruiser, right? And didn't really have any acceleration. And this bike's not fast by any stretch of the imagination, but it was all relative. It felt so much different than what I had been riding for the past 6 to 8 months exclusively. So it's fun to be able to switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna head back this way instead of going to Kirkland. So I have no reason to go over there, and I'm already closer to home, and I'm getting a little, I'm not cold, but I'm getting a little chilly maybe. And this bike doesn't tempt you to go fast either. Like, that's what I always say, you have to really try to be going fast on this bike to be in trouble. Whereas I've been on a couple other bikes where you really just pull the throttle a little bit, and the throttle response is crazy. The RPM